Every 40 seconds, someone in the United States has a stroke. But almost no one talks about what comes before the stroke. C. Most of these life-altering events don't start with a dramatic collapse. They start with a slow, quiet decline in circulation to the brain, often for years before anyone realizes. And you might not even notice it at first. A word that just won't come to you. A name you've said 100 times that suddenly slips your mind. You think, maybe it's just aging. But what if it's not? What if your brain isn't failing? It's starving? Tonight, I want to show you 3 simple foods that don't just protect your heart. They feed your brain. Not during the day. Not after months of use. But while you sleep. These are foods with real science behind them. And one of them? Most people toss it in the trash, without a second thought. Now, if this is your first time here, I'm Dr. James Porter, and on this channel, I help older adults fight back against memory decline, vision problems, and silent brain aging. If that sounds helpful to you, go ahead and subscribe. It might be one of the simplest decisions you make for your long-term brain health. Let's keep going. Because here's what most people never realize. Cognitive decline often starts in the bloodstream, not the brain. As circulation slows, so does oxygen delivery. Neurons weaken. Toxins stay behind. And your mornings? They start to feel foggier than they should. But that process isn't permanent. There are foods that gently reopen those inner highways, especially at night when your brain is working hardest to repair itself. And tonight, we're talking about 3 of the most powerful. 1 is deep red. 1 makes you cry. And 1 has been in your kitchen this whole time. Let's start with the root that expands blood vessels while you sleep without pills, without effort. We're talking about beets. The first time I saw a patient recover mental clarity with something as simple as beet juice, I didn't believe it. She was 74, struggling to form full sentences by the end of the day. Couldn't follow conversations at dinner. Her daughter thought it was early-stage dementia. But it wasn't. It was circulation. Beets are one of the richest natural sources of dietary nitrates. Now that word might sound scientific, but here's what it means for your brain. When you eat beets, your body converts those nitrates into nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is like a natural relaxant for your blood vessels. It signals the walls of your arteries to open up, which allows more oxygen-rich blood to reach areas that have been undersupplied, especially in the brain. That one mechanism changes everything for older adults. Because as we age, nitric oxide production drops. And with it, so does the brain's ability to stay oxygenated during deep sleep, the very window when memory repair and toxin removal are most active. A randomized study published in Nitric Oxide Journal in 2022 found that older adults who drank concentrated beet juice daily experienced a 26% improvement in cerebral blood flow after just 4 weeks. Another trial out of Wake Forest University in 2017 used MRI imaging to track blood movement in the brain. They discovered that drinking beetroot juice before exercise significantly enhanced perfusion in the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for decision-making, focus, and memory consolidation. But here's what most people miss. Beets don't just support blood flow. They amplify the brain's ability to clean itself while you sleep. That's because nighttime glymphatic activity, the brain's internal cleanup system, depends on optimal circulation. If blood flow is compromised, those waste removal processes slow down, leading to cognitive fatigue, memory fog, and slower reaction times in the morning. One of my patients, George, 68, started adding roasted beets to his evening salad 3 times a week. Before, he would wake up at 4 a.m., confused and agitated. After 3 weeks, his wife told me something I'll never forget. He's sleeping through the night, and in the morning, he's himself again. You don't need a juicer. You don't need a supplement. Even one small cooked beet in the evening can make a difference. Roasted, grated into a warm salad, blended into a soup, it doesn't matter. What matters is frequency. The brain doesn't ask for miracles. It asks for consistency. If you're on blood pressure medication, Talk to your doctor before increasing your intake. Beets are powerful, but when used right, they work gently, naturally, silently, and sometimes that's exactly what the brain needs. Now, what if I told you the next food on this list has compounds that act like tiny cleaners for your blood vessels, and that most of us avoid it because of the smell? Let's talk about onions. Most people chop onions with one goal in mind: to get it over with as fast as possible. But what if I told you that this sharp-smelling kitchen staple holds one of the most overlooked brain-supporting compounds in nature? Onions are rich in quercetin. And while that name may not mean much to you right now, it should. Because quercetin is a natural flavonoid that works like a microscopic cleaner, sweeping away inflammation, improving elasticity in blood vessels, and protecting the inner lining of your arteries. And for the aging brain, that's critical. See, after the age of 60, the lining of our blood vessels, called the endothelium, begins to stiffen. That stiffening makes it harder for blood to flow where it's needed most, especially during rest. And without strong, supple vessels, your brain doesn't get the oxygen and nutrients required for overnight repair. That's where quercetin steps in. A 2020 study in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences confirmed that quercetin not only improves endothelial function, but also reduces oxidative stress in cerebral blood vessels, meaning it helps keep the very highways that supply your brain clean and responsive. And it goes even deeper. Research published in Nutrients in 2019 demonstrated that quercetin enhances mitochondrial function in brain cells. Why is that important? Because mitochondria are the energy engines inside your neurons. If they slow down, memory slows down, focus drifts, fatigue builds. But with better blood flow and stronger mitochondria, your brain wakes up sharper even after just a few nights of support. Another overlooked benefit of onions is their ability to reduce blood viscosity. That means your blood doesn't just move, it moves more freely. In a 2021 experiment conducted at the University of Tokyo, scientists observed that sulfur-rich compounds in onions acted as mild natural blood thinners, improving microcirculation in aging lab animals without causing drops in blood pressure. And yes, onions are high in sulfur, which gives them their distinct odor. But that same sulfur is what enhances glutathione production in the body, one of the brain's primary antioxidant defenses. So in every layer of that onion, even the ones we toss away, is a compound designed by nature to restore flow, clear waste, and protect the vessels that nourish your mind. Now, before you rush to sauté a pan of onions every night, let me clarify how to use them. You don't need a mountain. Half a small onion, lightly cooked, added to your dinner meal, especially in the evening, is more than enough. Cooking helps soften the fibers and reduce sharpness without destroying the flavonoids. But don't overcook. 5 to 7 minutes in a pan is perfect. And if raw onions are easier for you, go for red onions. They contain nearly double the quercetin compared to white varieties. So the next time you tear up over a chopped onion, remember, your brain might just be crying tears of gratitude. Now, we've talked about increasing oxygen. We've talked about clearing your vessels. But what if there was a food that gently prevented your blood from clogging in the first place, and did so while you slept? That food is garlic, and its effect on brain circulation is something no one should ignore. Garlic has been used for over 5,000 years, but only recently has science begun to understand why this humble bulb has such a profound effect on brain health, especially overnight. The key lies in a group of compounds called organosulfur compounds. These natural chemicals, found abundantly in garlic, are responsible for its sharp aroma, and more importantly, for its ability to gently thin the blood and improve microcirculation. Here's why that matters. As we age, our blood tends to become thicker. Platelets stick together more easily, and even tiny clots, too small to be noticed, can slowly reduce blood flow to key regions of the brain, especially at night, when your body is lying still and your heart rate is lower. That's where garlic becomes powerful. A study published in Nutrition in 2020 found that daily garlic supplementation significantly reduced platelet aggregation in adults over 65. This means the blood remained more fluid, able to reach the small capillaries deep within brain tissue without increasing the risk of bleeding or dangerously dropping blood pressure. And the impact is not just on circulation. Garlic also enhances nitric oxide bioavailability, which helps relax and widen blood vessels. That leads to better perfusion during sleep, a time when the brain relies on steady oxygen flow to complete its nightly detox and repair cycles. Another study published in Phytomedicine in 2019 showed that aged garlic extract improved cognitive performance and reduced inflammation markers in the hippocampus, the region of the brain most responsible for memory formation and retrieval. But what makes garlic truly unique is its dual role. It not only improves blood flow, it also protects the blood vessels from damage. This is thanks to a compound called allicin. Allicin acts as a natural antioxidant and anti-inflammatory agent. It reduces oxidative stress in the walls of your arteries and prevents the hardening that often leads to reduced mental clarity in older adults. Let me share a real example. Luis, 71, had been waking up groggy, even after 8 hours of sleep. His daughter noticed he was moving slower, forgetting names, repeating questions. He added half a clove of raw garlic to his dinner every night for a month. By week 3, he was sharper, quicker, and more engaged, and his family noticed it before he did. That's the silent power of garlic. It doesn't force, it supports. And it does it when you're not even awake to notice. Now, how should you use it? If you can tolerate it raw, that's ideal. Crush a small clove and let it sit for 10 minutes before eating. This allows allicin to fully form. You can mix it into a spoon of olive oil or yogurt to soften the taste. If raw is too strong, lightly cook it, but not for long. Overheating can reduce the beneficial compounds. Add it at the end of cooking, or use roasted garlic in soups or spreads. Avoid garlic supplements unless advised by a professional. Fresh is best. And if you're taking blood-thinning medication, always consult your doctor before adding garlic regularly. In the end, garlic is more than flavor. It's quiet protection. It keeps the blood moving. It guards the brain from silent damage. And it works best when you're not trying, when you're resting. But here's the most important part. These foods only work if they become part of your rhythm. So in the next section, I'll show you how to bring them together in one simple, brain-friendly plan. One you can start tonight. So now you know the 3 foods that support blood flow to your brain while you sleep. But knowing is only half the story. The real change comes when you apply it. And the truth is, you don't need a complicated diet or strict schedule. You just need a rhythm. A few small habits, done consistently. Here's a simple plan you can follow, starting tonight. In the late afternoon, sometime between 4 and 6 p.m., prepare a light meal that includes at least one of the foods we talked about. That could be a warm salad with roasted beets, or a simple stir-fry with half a sliced onion added at the end. Even a slice of whole grain bread topped with soft roasted garlic works beautifully. The key is to eat it early enough so that your body can digest and absorb the nutrients before sleep. This gives your bloodstream time to circulate the compounds so that when your brain enters deep sleep, it has everything it needs to repair and reset. If you already have a dinner routine, don't change everything. Just add half a cooked beet. Add a few caramelized onion strips. Add a spoon of crushed garlic mixed into mashed potatoes. And if you're sensitive to strong flavors at night, start slow. A few bites. Then gradually increase over the next week. Your body doesn't need perfection. It needs consistency. Small changes that your brain can rely on, night after night. Some people may notice a clearer mind after just a few days. For others, it may take a few weeks. That's normal. What matters is this. The foods you eat tonight are not just feeding your stomach. They're feeding your brains tomorrow. And that brings me to the heart of this message. Most people fear memory loss because they think it's out of their control. They think it's just aging. But science and thousands of real experiences prove otherwise. You have more power than you've been told. So if this video gave you hope, clarity, or a plan you can follow, I'd be honored if you hit the like button. And if you know someone who's been struggling with foggy mornings or forgetfulness, consider sharing this with them. It might be the nudge they need. And of course, feel free to comment below. What's worked for you? What do you want help with next? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. In the final part, I want to leave you with something deeper. A perspective shift that might change the way you view your brain for the rest of your life. If you've made it this far, I want to say something very simple, but very real. Thank you, not just for watching, but for caring about your brain, your future, and your ability to stay sharp for the people you love. Because the truth is, memory loss is one of the most feared experiences of aging. But what if it's not the end? What if it's a signal? A quiet way your brain is saying, "I'm still here, I just need more support." See, your brain is not giving up. It's adapting. It's working with what it has. And when you give it better circulation, better oxygen, better nutrients, it responds. You've seen that tonight. With beets, with onions, with garlic. These are not magic cures. They are natural tools. And when used with care, they support something we often take for granted. The simple act of waking up clear, rested, and mentally alive. I've worked with patients who feared they were slipping. They thought they were losing themselves. But once their brain got what it needed, not pills, but nourishment, they came back. Bit by bit. Morning by morning. So no, you are not too late. You are not broken. You are not alone. And if you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Your brain is still listening. It just needs you to listen back. If you found value here, if anything I said resonated with you, I truly invite you to like this video. It tells YouTube to show it to more people who may be quietly struggling. And if you know someone, a friend, a parent, a partner who wakes up feeling foggy, please share this